We're gonna wait another minute or so just to give a few more people a chance to get online. We have 6 committee members present, which means we have a quorum. I'll introduce everybody in a few minutes, so we're pretty much good to go at this point. Walter here today? No, Walter's not here yet. So. And Eric, I guess, is not coming today, and David Green is not coming today. I think Terry's also not coming today. So, all right, why don't we get started? Since we do have a quorum here, and it's a little after 9. So we're going to start off here with the agenda item. So we're officially opening the meeting now, which is around 9:04. I'll review the agenda items, which is the next thing on the meeting. I'll review the agenda. Then we'll have a bit of time for public comments. We'll review the minutes from the last meeting. George Abdow is here from the association to give us an update on the proposed work for 2024. We'll talk about a task force that's trying to be formed to. Oh yeah, thank you, Tom. Tom, you speak. It's okay. Tom reminded me that I haven't introduced everybody yet, but let me finish the agenda, then I'll introduce everybody. But thank you, Tom. So we're talking about a proposed task force to look for funding options for road maintenance around the lake. I'll give an update on the notice of intent and dam repairs and what's going on with FERCog. There's a request from Tracy at the last meeting to review the scope of the meeting and any other items that we didn't add to the agenda. So now, as far as attendees in town here, town hall, we have John Gorey, Mary David, Howard Kinder, myself. Online is Catherine Hilton. Guest for the meeting is George Abdal's online. Jennifer Walls is online. Tracy McNaughton is online, and Tom Sieper is here in public, in person. All right. Did I miss anything? Good. All right. So now we'll go.
Tracy's got her hand up there. I don't know if it.
Well, I think we're on item 2 on the agenda, which is a review of the which is item 3, which is public comment. And so I'll since Tracy has her hand raised, go ahead, Tracy. I think you're muted though.
Yeah, it just unmuted me. Yeah, so a couple of things. First, I had wanted to make a correction for something that was said at the last meeting before you guys approve your minutes. And second, I guess I would go with second first. I would like to move my agenda item to next month because so many members of LWAC aren't here and it doesn't make sense to do it today. That I guess the select board has a joint school committee meeting right now, and so Eric's not going to be here, and then so many of the other members. Actually, the one other item that was supposed to be on the agenda, and we were supposed to receive a copy of the MVP application that was filed, I think it was last year, 2023. That had been brought up by Bob Douglas last meeting, and that was to be sent out to everybody, and we haven't gotten that yet. So that should be put on the agenda for next time too. And then the thing that I wanted to correct is that stated by one of the LWAC members at the last meeting, and I'm going to assume that they just weren't home on the weekend that it was done, but when the gravel was spread on Shore Drive back about a month and a half, I think it was probably 5 weeks ago, it was said that the person who did it had scraped down all the potholes and used a higher grade gravel. And that's not accurate. The gravel was taken from the pile down the road. Half that pile is gone now. And no potholes were scraped down. Actually, that couldn't have been done anyway because that material would have to be brought somewhere outside of Lake Wyola and brought to a I don't know what they call them, the facilities where you can bring the debris. So that should be changed from the last meeting. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Tracy. Any other comments from, or any other public comments? Okay, thank you. Now for the committee members, next next item on the agenda is to review the minutes from the March 16th meeting. And any comments or suggestions or corrections that need to be made?
I didn't see anything.
Okay, so we'll,
Motion to approve?
second. All right, all in favor, I guess we have to do a voice vote here for Mary,
Aye.
John, Howard. Aye. Walter.
Aye.
Mark, yes, and Catherine.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. So next item on the agenda is an update on the proposed road work for 2024 that the association is planning. And we have George Abdo online here, and so I'm going to turn it over to George. You're currently muted.
Hello, how are you?
Good, George.
Okay. I guess I was asked to come to the meeting and explain Lake Wyola Association's process and what we have planned for this coming year in terms of the roads. What we do is last couple of years we've had our contractor, who also happens to be the person that the town hires to plow the roads, Dave Boron, go around the roads in the spring and come up with an assessment of what he thinks needs to be done, prioritize them, and give us budget numbers as to what it's going to take to fix them. In addition to that, I sent him the note that I received, a note that I received from the Conservation Commission, which was dated April 11th, and asked him to incorporate that. He's in the process of putting all those things together. He gets back to the board. The board looks at what we use for a budget. Our typical budget on the roads is about a third of our operating budget, which last couple of years has been about $13,000. Last year, we had an emergency issue where the culvert that goes under the beginning part of Shore Drive by the Association Hall had collapsed and failed, and we were worried about a washout, so we had to use emergency funds to replace that culvert. And that's where the process is. That's where the process stands. We are in process. Part of Conservation Commission's letter to us said that they want to know what our plan is and everything within the next 60 days, which, I mean, we'll have it to them much quicker than that. I don't know what more of an overview I can give you.
Okay, George, thank you very much. Comments from committee members, questions for George?
I didn't catch that, Mark. I'm sorry.
So now I'm asking the committee members if they have any comments or questions. Okay, Tracy has her hand raised, and so I guess I'll call on Tracy. Go ahead.
I think that sending out a copy of that Conservation Commission letter would be helpful, or to show it. So that we know what you're referring to.
Isn't it?
I don't know. This is the first I've heard of it. So,
Sure,
and also another question that I would have is in regards to Dave Boron. My understanding is he has no grading equipment. So I guess I would want to know how it's possible for him to actually do a reprofile and creation of a crown. I've never seen it done since he's been doing the work here. So I would be curious as to why he's the person. Also, the roads policy states that the roads committee is supposed to be doing the assessment, and it would be pretty hard for Dave Boron to know what the issues are.
Well, I mean, Dave Boron
Necessarily.
drives the roads all the time. He plows the roads. He's very aware.
He doesn't drive them all the We've had 2 snowstorms that he's had to plow.
Okay, and he puts it, the roads committee is involved in this. The thing goes from Dave Boron to the roads committee to the board. That's the trail.
Right, thank you. Let's turn it over
Thank
to
you.
Jennifer. She has her hand raised.
Hi, everybody. And I'm not on, okay, I'm unmuted. George, my question is similar, only that I'm just curious about the chain that you mentioned of how that goes, that you get in touch with Dave drives the road, does a survey. And what you had said is then he prioritizes the projects. And
Well,
gives
I
you-
mean, he prioritizes the projects when he presents me what he presents to us.
All right, let me just
And
finish.
then
Can I
the
finish my
roads,
question?
the
Can I finish
road,
my-
go ahead.
Okay, so my question is, I think I'm just trying to get clarity that he prioritizes in his view what the project should be. He gives you a budget and then you either accept his priorities or refine them or revise them in some way as the roads committee and you present those to the board.
Exactly.
That's the way it goes. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, so
I
that
mean, just-
wasn't,
I'm asking his opinion on the priority list, and then
Mhm.
we review it. And then when we review it, then we figure out whether or not we agree with his priority list. But I mean, when he does that, it just makes it easier for us to look at things.
okay, so I would just ask that the minutes reflect that because the initial thing that George said basically said that Dave Boron, the contractor, prioritizes the projects. But it's really the roads committee that
Well,
prioritizes.
he
the
prioritizes
project.
what he presents to the roads committee. And then the
Understood.
roads committee reviews everything, adds things, changes things, and then presents to the board.
Okay, so just try and get some clarity on how that works. Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, any more comments? Question for Mary. If Tracy wanted to get a copy of that letter, would she go directly to the Conservation Commission and get a copy?
Yes.
Okay, so that's probably the best avenue. Okay, thank you. Right, thank you, George. I appreciate the getting up in the morning, getting up and joining us today and giving us an update on the roads. And
I have one more. Mark, I have one more question for George.
okay,
Can I go?
yeah, go ahead.
George, how many members of the roads committee are year-round residents?
That's a good question. 1, 2, 3. 3.
Okay, great, thank you. Now let's see, next agenda item, I think, ready to move on. Okay, and that's, the next item is item 6, proposed task force to investigate funding options for road maintenance around the lake. This was, raised last month by Jennifer, and the committee here thought it was a good idea to create a task force or a subcommittee or something to look at alternate sources of funding for road maintenance beyond what the association currently has. Whether it's private funds, whether it's public funds, but just to keep an open mind about it and look at all avenues. To form a task force or subcommittee, we need the blessings, the approval of the select board, and we'll have to come up with a scope, or someone will come up with a scope and agenda items and things like that. So unfortunately, we haven't been able to get onto the select board agenda to have this discussion. There was too many agenda items in the last meeting. The next meeting that the select board has, I can't attend. And so their preference is to hold off until I can attend. So I think we're on for the May 7th meeting right now. And we're asking them to approve the formation of a task force and membership, or a separate subcommittee, a separate committee, that's, which is an option, and reports directly to them. And so we're kind of at a holding pattern right now. I think it's gonna go through. I don't think it's gonna be a big issue, whether it reports to us or whether it reports to the director of the select board. There is a question on membership, in that there'd be a number of members who are not part of LRAC on this task force. So I don't understand the mechanism to have them on the committee if it's part of LRAC. In other words, does a task force membership have to also be an OLAC membership? I don't think it does.
I think you can create it, well, it would have to be approved by them. I think you can create it, say, so many members that are not of. Just like the creation of this
Yeah.
group here is represented from this, from this.
Yep.
This department. And so I think put that together.
So we're currently on hold. I see Jennifer has her hand raised. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Hi, I just want to make an important, I mean, so I brought this to the LWAC group last meeting. And it's something that I've talked to Becky about in the past, but I want to make an important correction for the record, but also for all of the thinking around this. Because the more we talk about the purpose of this, if it comes to be as road maintenance around the lake, the more misconceptions will occur and the more bottlenecks we'll face. My proposal has little to do with road maintenance around the lake. My proposal has to do with a public and private coming together to deal with stormwater erosion issues around the lake, which are caused by sources that are both public and private sources. And I think that, of course, you know, the roads and damage to the roads from stormwater is kind of collateral damage from the stormwater problems. And I'm not saying that the Lake Wyola Association isn't involved and isn't a crucial member, but to say that we're trying to figure out funding sources for Lake Wyola road maintenance is too narrow a job for the task force, and probably not even legal, in that the Lake Wyola Association has their own requirements for road maintenance. So I really want to try and get the labeling of it to shift to stormwater erosion damage to the lake. If that can happen, and I hope I've been clear, and maybe people don't agree, but that's the proposal that I've brought forward. And I wanted to make that important distinction. Thank you.
That's a very good comment. I think that's very accurate statement. Comments from committee members? So there's really not much we can do right now. I really feel confident that we'll be at the next the select board, the May select board meeting, and we'll have their decision hopefully before our next meeting. Okay. Thank you. And thank you, Jennifer. We'll see. Hopefully things will go good. Something to consider this is like who should be the committee members here. And it is you know, who should be on this committee? You know, what departments in the town? We're gonna have to come up with a member. If it's part of this subcommittee, we have to come up with a membership. And so, you know, who would like to be involved, and so just something in the back of your mind as you're pondering this over the next month. Okay, next item is an update on the notice of intent. We all know that GZA, which is an engineering company out of Springfield, is working on getting a notice of intent for the drawdown and for the maintenance of the dam. This month, they have been in contact with natural heritage and endangered species to identify what the endangered species is. It turns out it's the bridal shiner.
That's back again.
Yeah, Wyola shiner was the endangered species, 2016, 17, before.
Right, I think on this last project, they had said that there wasn't, we
Well-
didn't have to worry about it, but now we have to.
In 2018, when I did notice of intent for the latest current drawdown, there was no endangered species in the lake.
Right.
And now there is. So, and so, GCA is going back to is meeting the natural heritage to understand the issue here and to understand, and to get their opinion on, will lowering the lake by 2 feet affect the Wyola shiner? And so that's what it comes down. If it doesn't affect it, in their opinion, then in natural heritage opinion, then it doesn't, it changes the path, the permitting process. And makes it much more efficient or quicker, I think. Now, someone had told me, and I sent the note off to GCA that the reason why it was taken off the list to begin with was because the state stocks trout in the lake. And trout are natural predators to shiners. They eat shiners. And so it was kind of an inconsistent policy where one agency is putting predators in the lake and another agency is trying to protect the food source. And so and I'm not sure if that's true. I had heard that. And so I've asked GCA to raise that issue with natural heritage and try to get, try to understand what's going on with that. We have, excuse me 1 second, Miriam is joining the committee, the meeting here. That's where that sits. The other thing, the other issue is the GCA noted in the last notice of intent that we had said that this drawdown had been happening for many years, and they were looking for objective proof of that. And so it was just trying to do everything right by the book. And so Howard we're getting Howard's records from Howard Dam Keeper's records. He has it going back 10 years. And then his old book, his old log book was put in the archives.
Yeah, supposed to be.
Yeah, it was put into the town archives someplace. And so they're looking for those records, probably go back how many years?
Well, those will go way back, but mine goes back to 2014,
Okay,
and the other one, I don't have my paper with me, was 1997 or something like that. Because the book prior to that is missing.
okay,
It was never in fact, that was in the 80s too, because somebody either wanted it worse than we did, or needed to start a fire in the wintertime or something. I don't know.
okay.
It's long gone.
So but we have records, but hopefully that we have records going back. We definitely have records going back to 2014.
Probably at least 20 years, I would
Yeah.
think.
Any comments or questions on those two items?
I have a question.
Just
Thanks. Did you say that someone suggested stocking the lake with trout because they're predators of shiners could be inconsistent with protecting the shiners as a food source if the lake were drawn down 2 feet?
no, it's unrelated to the drawdown.
Or if the lake gets lower 2 feet?
It's unrelated.
Can you explain again what you
Okay,
said?
so the issue is, was told to me, and this is not official, and I'm probably not even put in the minutes
I
because,
heard that too.
yeah, it's that someone had told me that the Wyola shiner was removed from the endangered species. It was removed from the list of endangered species around Lake Wyola because the state has stocks trout.
But it's now back on the list?
That's right. It's now, yeah, it was off in 2018 for sure. And I don't exactly know when it came back on the list. Yeah. Okay, we might be losing.
George, just so you know, this happens on Saturday mornings because there's some kind of a reboot of equipment, so they'll be back.
Can you guys all hear me? You can hear me? Do you think it's funny? I mean, it's funny in a sad way if it's true that, so here's an endangered creature and it's taken off the list, not
Just
because
Jennifer,
it,
just to interrupt, we're not really allowed to talk about anything because of open meeting
not?
laws.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
All
we
right,
got-
sorry. Just a little,
Like that. Hello, everybody. It looks like, yeah, can you guys hear me? Okay, I can hear you shaking of the head there. So it looks like, someone fixed the generator, so it starts back up right in the middle of our meeting. But the light goes on. So okay, just give you a wave your hand if you can hear me. Okay, good. Excellent. All right, so. Where were we?
I think,
I was gonna comment about the.
it was about, right, so you explained what it was you meant, and then are you, able or willing to tell us who told you that?
Nope.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Okay, so it's not official.
It's not, absolutely not official at all, but the good thing is that we have the engineering company and we're working with Natural Heritage to really, you know, give an explanation of what's really going on. And even if it is unrelated, the bridal shiner may have, the drawdown may have no effect on bridal shiner population. It probably doesn't, it's a fish, it swims around and it probably has no effect on it at all, but that's natural heritage call to adjourn.
Thank you.
Okay, and okay, so any other questions or comments on the notice of intent?
You have an idea when they'll have that ready?
The notice of intent itself?
Yeah.
No, zero idea. The reason why is because there's a lot of agencies that have to be involved right now. And it's not as simple as it was 2018. 2018, it was really just DEP, and I worked with DEP back then, and you know they helped me write the notice of intent. But now there's a number of agencies that are involved, and so it's and the actual path depends upon some of these decisions. So again, two of them, one of them is the endangered species, and the other one is the historical practical practices. If historically when they lowered the lake 2 feet, then that makes the permitting process quite a bit simpler. And so that's why we're looking for the records that confirm that it's been consistently lowered. Tracy, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, I'm just not quite clear about what the significance is of the endangered species with national heritage and what is this just about Lake Drawdown? Because I thought you were telling Tom that it wasn't. What is it about? What's the significance of either having or not having this critter on the endangered species list, and what effect does that have on the lake or anything, you know?
Right.
I guess also like dredging and all that.
Okay, this has nothing to do with dredging, Tracy, and well, let's stay focused here. This is on the dam. So Lake Wyola is listed as having an endangered species. Right? And that endangered species is considered to be a bridal shiner. Now, if if natural heritage determines that the lowering of the lake would have an effect on the bridal shiner population, they can impose specific conditions or specific conditions. Or they can say, yep, you have a bridal shiner is an endangered species, but lowering the lake will have no effect on it. So it's their call, and they can say, they can basically say, you're good to go from our perspective, the natural heritage perspective, or they can say, you can't lower it, or they can say, you can lower it under these specific conditions. So, they're a group that is trying to protect the bridal shiner and making sure that what we do around the lake doesn't hurt the population. Good. Any more questions or comments? Okay, I'll give you an update next year, next month, and we'll see where things going. All right, an update on dam maintenance and repairs, our next agenda item. We're weren't able to get it into the capital budget for this year. So we're going to request it to be, I think it's going to be the 2026 budget or next fall. This fall, we'll try to get it into the town budget, the $80,000 to do the work, the maintenance work on the dam.
But some of that, in talking with Becky also, GZA is looking at addressing some of those issues in their plans right now too. So it was kind of questionable exactly what they were looking at doing, what they were going to look for funding for, and then what we needed for funding. So that was another reason. Well, it was too late to start the process anyways, but that was something that was mentioned that we need to further discuss with them what they're looking at.
In the last dam inspection, the engineer, I don't remember his name, Forrest, they gave a list of immediate maintenance items on the dam. Plugging the leak that's around the valve and berry bushes, and there's like 10 items. And so GCA is supposed to help scope out that so that we can get get a contractor in to do the work. And Morris gave an estimate of $80,000. GCA will refine that estimate once they start taking a look at it. But right now, most of their time is focused on notice of intent and permitting process. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
All right, good. But they're also going to talk about the trash rack and the displacement of the rocks. They're going to look at that also. So basically, dam maintenance is really kind of on hold right now, and there's nothing that's there's nothing. The dam is in good shape. Yeah, there's nothing. It's not going to fall down. It's in good shape. It's just routine maintenance. The only downside here, the delay, is that like maintenance on your house or maintenance on your car. If you defer too long, it gets to be more expensive. Right. So, but it is what it is. Okay. Next item on the agenda is an update on the FERCog watershed-based plan. This is still, there's no update. There's nothing's happened in the past month. They're still waiting from Mass DEP to give their blessings to the plan or finish their review. And so hopefully next month we'll get some, some information from them. And, that's a little bit of overlap, in terms of what the proposed task force, is, because they're, they're looking at erosions and, around the whole lake, the whole watershed. And so, there's some overlap here, but it's good that, we have multiple groups looking at this problem. Any comments? All right, well, the last item, review the scope, Tracy requested that we move that to the next meeting, and we can do that. So we're on item 11, is any items that, we didn't include in the minutes. I'm gonna turn it over to Mary.
So I noticed that, cars are now parking at the dam again and fishing off the dam. And parking might be good, but they're parking in that culvert there. So I would request that the committee send something to notify the police chief that that's occurring, and could we add more patrols, just so they know? And two, to the highway department, because they haven't on that side of the road put back the no parking signs there. On both sides, they haven't put them back up again, so. Whether that'll help or not, but they put them right there by the culvert, they wouldn't be able to drive into the culvert to park.
Was that just basically an email to?
Yes, it's just an email
Yeah,
to from us to
Becky
say-
and,
to Becky and
the highway department.
Becky, the chief,
Police chief.
Please.
the police chief and the highway department.
And so we're just reminding them that they need to start, put back the no parking sign on both
Police
sides.
step up patrol stuff,
And there's increased patrols.
although it'll be easier for them to enforce if the signs are there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay, good. All right, let's see, Jennifer has her hand raised. Jennifer, I think you might be muted.
Yeah, I'm just
Oh.
saying Tracy had her hand up before me, but
I will.
Um,
you know, the person.
my thing's pretty simple. I just would say that I have a sheet where I wrote up my thinking about what this task force is and what it might do and how it's different from something that, we've done before. I don't know if that's of interest to the LWAC. But if it is, and if you think so, I could forward that to you in some way, and you would have that in a more concrete way than just how it's been talked about so far. So I just wanted to offer that if you all thought that would be good.
Sure, and what I also appreciate is, and I think you're already planning to do this, is to attend the select board, for you to attend a select board meeting and speak up. And like I said, I can't believe it's that they're not gonna approve this, but yeah, definitely we can, use that as a talking point.
So how does that get circulated to all the members of LWAC?
Well, I guess the question is it appropriate to circulate it until, at this point, I think.
It's information, it
Yeah,
would,
it's just
it would be,
Things to think about.
Yeah.
We're making a list of what we think we should have for people on
it might encourage other people to think of things too.
Okay,
It's not meant to be
So-
anything final. It's just like, okay, these are my thoughts,
thought.
and LWAC gets to do what they want to do with it,
okay, so Jennifer, if you send that to me, I can circulate that to the committee members.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, Tracy?
Yes, just a quick comment on that part is that at the select board meeting, you can't just speak up. They only have the public comment section at the beginning unless they're going to have an open forum on this. And my question is for George. Are you still there, George?
Yes,
George, you spoke earlier about the membership on the roads committee. Back when I was on the roads committee and on the board, the plan was to get a list of all committee members to get, around to all LWA members. Has that ever been done? Because I've never seen anything like that come to me. And I also, was wondering about getting that, especially for the roads committee, so that people who, roads committee members who live here year round, clearly would be the better people to contact when we've got a situation here, because they're here. So can you get us at least the roads committee members and their contact information?
I mean, what has happened over the years in talking to the people is that they're more comfortable with everything being directed towards me, and then me getting a hold of them. So we haven't really published their contact information or anything else like that, and had me be the go-to. We can talk about it and see if we want to change that or not. But I mean, what we've been doing is seemed to have gotten the information out.
I would disagree with that.
Okay.
And I would disagree that people are wanting it to be at least LWA membership over here at the lake, wanting it to be just through you, because I don't know of anybody on the roads committee who lives here year round. And that's odd that I wouldn't know that, I think. And so I think it's important that we do.
Okay,
especially
we can
because it's a
definitely
member.
we can talk about it, and I can see how it wants to get handled at our next quorum, but for sure. Okay.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tracy, thank you, George. Any other last minute items? Yeah, I guess we, a motion to, close the meeting.
Second,
And, so, everyone in favor?
aye.
And so it looks like it's about 9:45.
Yep.
Okay, thank you all for attending, and, have a good weekend.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Thank you, George.